I looked into it in a lot more depth and realized there's a lot more to it than, there it is, it can be rewarding, definitely 100%. And the longer I've been in it, the more I realize it actually can be really rewarding. Hi, I'm Natasha Keeping from the UK, and I'm excited to be on the podcast Inside Aesthetics with Jake and David for the second episode of The Business of Injecting.
Welcome to we had episode 1 last week. This is officially episode 2 of The Business of Injecting.
Yeah, which was kind of your idea, so kudos to you.
Oh, thank you. Well, I mean, we've been talking about the discipline of injecting, everything to do with the medical part of our industry and how we inject, why we inject. But rheology. But at the end of the day, we are still running businesses that provide aesthetic or cosmetic services. And it feels like we've kind of dabbled in these conversations a little bit here and there, but not really had fully dedicated episodes and a concerted effort to focus on the business side of what it is that we do, because it is quite a nuanced industry.
For sure. And to give maybe the listeners who aren't part of the WhatsApp group, etc., some insight, we always pitch these ideas to our sort of listener group. So if you are interested, you're welcome to join the links in our Instagram bio link. But it seemed to get people's attention.
Yeah,
people were firing questions, and Natasha kindly volunteered to be our first guinea pig.
First guinea
volunteer.
Pig. Yeah. Well, and I mean, what we're trying to do, I guess, for people to sort of, orientate themselves as to how these conversations are going to progress and what we're trying to achieve. We've created a bit of a community, I guess, with all the IA listeners. And it seems like we want to have, even though we don't have all the answers, potentially, we can have these discussions and potentially learn from each other's mistakes, our successes, the struggles that we're going through, and effectively create a community where we're sort of helping each other and propping each other up and learning.
Yeah.
Because I'm learning as well as we go. I mean, I've been doing this for 20 years and I'm still learning every week. So so that's why we're here. That's what we're planning to do. And as we said, Natasha's our first cab off the rank. We had a bit of an introductory chat last week between you and I, but here we go. We've got Negronis in hand.
Yes. Natasha, why don't you introduce yourself? Because, you can say it any way you like, but, tell the listeners what you were doing and maybe just a short picture of what you're doing now, and then we'll get into it.
Okay, so I'm a general adult nurse. I've been in the NHS for 21 years doing nursing. Background mainly sort of things like A&E, medical admissions. Then I went into sexual health, and then the last 6 years I've been in general practice we call it a practice nurse in this country. And so I've been doing that for about 6 years, and it's been great with the children and around sort of looking after them. But probably the last year I felt a little bit frustrated. What's the next thing? I've always worked in quite challenging areas, and I just felt like I was ready for the next challenge, really. When I went into general practice, I guess I thought my natural path would be advanced nurse practitioner, minor illness, but in reality, it wasn't really exciting me. So sort of discovered aesthetics about a year ago, and here I am, a year down the line.
Right.
With aesthetics.
How did you discover it? Well, did you know friends who were being injected, or did you know injectors?
So it was almost like a few things came at once. So I think the first thing was I did the prescribing course, and that opened up some doors to me. And I think it made me think, on the prescribing course, there are a couple of other aesthetic nurses, and it just made me think about it. But then at the same time, I just became more aware of friends having treatments and how popular aesthetics was becoming. So I didn't really know anyone, actually. I don't have any didn't have any nurse or doctor friend colleagues in aesthetics at all. It was more about my friends was talking of this amazing drug called Botox that was doing wonderful things and making them happy, and it just made me quite fascinated. So I think I just played with the idea for a long time and just kept looking at it, and then it just appeared to be this quite exciting industry, a growing industry that looked really exciting. And I think I just thought, oh, this looks really good. It looks like something that I could learn so much from. So I've always been quite driven, always liked to learn, go on new courses, and I think aesthetics definitely had that, attraction to it without a doubt. So yeah, so that's that. And I guess also probably my age, just because obviously I guess I've got to that age now where, as well as my friends, I'm also thinking could do with a little bit of work, maybe a little bit of Botox here and there. So I think, yeah, it was just timing wise of all those different things, and it all came together, and it felt like a natural next step.
I don't know who your injector is, but you look great.
I was going to ask Natasha, you discovered this industry, you decided it was a good idea, but the motivations behind it, were you looking for a career change already? Were you potentially a bit over or disillusioned with the NHS and the things that you were doing in therapeutic nursing? Or was it just the excitement of this industry and sort of the, for all of the good and the bad, exciting and something different?
If I can add to that, what effect did COVID have on that as well?
Yeah.
I think all of it. I think all of those things you just mentioned. I'm quite lucky where I work. COVID probably wasn't as bad in general practice as it was in the hospital environment. And also, I was very lucky where I work. We were very well protected. We were looked after. It's a fairly small GP practice. We only have 6,000 patients. It's in a little country village, so we were quite protected from COVID. So I do think COVID had a huge effect on me. I think it was just timing wise. I just needed something. I needed the next step. I think my children are a little bit older. I needed something. And I thought to myself, I've probably got another 20 years as a nurse before retirement. Do I want to be just a practice, well, not just a practice nurse, but a practice nurse for the next 20 years? And I thought, no, I need something else. And I guess also there was this massive attraction of owning my own business. So that it's an opportunity I never thought I would have as a nurse. So that was also really exciting. I'd be lying if I said the money side of things wasn't attractive at all. I'd be lying if I said that wasn't a factor, but it definitely wasn't the main factor for me. I knew I needed more than that. So although money is nice, and obviously I have potential to earn more money than I do as a practice nurse, it wasn't the main drive. I knew I had to find more than that. Much to my husband's disappointment, I'm not driven by money. So, I came home one day and he said, "I've done the figures. This is a no-brainer. You've got to go into Botox." And I said, "But I'm not driven by money." And he was like, "Why? Why aren't you driven by money?" But so I looked into it in a lot more depth and realized there's a lot more to it than there it is. It can be rewarding, definitely, 100%. And the longer I've been in it, the more I realize it actually can be really rewarding. So.
I know Jake wanted to ask a question, but let's jump in real quickly. When you say you're not driven by money, money gives us freedom. And so perhaps not driven by money, but driven by the allure of having a job or a career that gives you flexibility. You can set your own hours. You're not working night shifts. You're not on your feet all the time. So maybe money gives you time. So you're not driven by the things you can buy, but you're potentially driven by the time that this type of career could give you for your children and for yourself potentially.
And that's what my husband said.
Right.
Yeah. And he's right.
Thanks so much for watching the video. If you want to listen to the whole podcast, go to your favorite podcast app and search for Inside Aesthetics.
If you like the videos we're putting out, please consider subscribing to our channel. Give us a like, smash the bell icon so that you get notified when we put out more content.
If you'd like to support us, our Patreon link is down below, and you can also follow us on Instagram on our personal accounts.